Okay. Welcome, everybody, to September the 13th, regular town council meeting in the town of Vegreville. I call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Looking for a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Waters, thank you very much. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Seeing no hands, all those in favor? Carried. Next, I'll be looking for a motion to adopt the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councillor Warwa. Thank you very much. Everybody's had a chance to read them. Any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. First up, we have our local democracy pledge, the pledge. This is the AUMA one, right?
And RMA, it's both.
And RMA too? So, this is directed at any candidates out there that are running for a municipal election here in the town of Vegreville. And it's just a pledge that you put your name and the municipality that you're going to be trying to run in. And it's the four key things that we're looking for is to keep local elections local by focusing my campaign on issues that municipally elected officials can influence. Maintain independence and non-partisanship by rejecting any endorsements which would undermine my accountability to municipal residents or the autonomy of the municipality. Demonstrate transparency by sharing my visions for the municipality and providing pre-election disclosure of campaign contributions and spending. And lastly, engage in respectful behavior by sharing my perspective while respecting and seeking to understand the differences of others. So I would ask any candidates here that are running to go ahead and fill one of these out and take the pledge. What we're seeing in politics today, and it wasn't before in municipal politics, it was usually federal, provincial, but we're seeing a lot of money pouring into municipal elections and people that are taking party lines, either Liberal, Conservative, NDP, and they're bringing it into the municipal elections, and there's no room for that in municipal elections. We're a whole different lot. We make decisions based on what's good for our neighbors, and we don't need to be disrespectful and behave in ways that are not respectful to the people that we represent. So I encourage anybody that is planning on running and anybody here that is running to please sign the pledge and respect what it means. Thank you very much. Next up, oh, go ahead.
I just have a question. Since it was presented to us here, if we sign the pledge, are we able to share it on any of our forums or anything like that, meaning like our social media and that? I'm just wondering if there's any issue with that.
Well, anybody that's willing to sign the pledge, I think we can share it anywhere we want.
Okay.
Go ahead, Councillor Riddick.
And honestly, I think both AUMA and RMA are encouraging as many candidates to declare it publicly. Just to remind everybody that's engaging in this level of government that it is a different character and it definitely is non-partisan, and that for that reason, this is an important declaration for us to make.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we're going to start with our correspondence. Go ahead, Cliff, thank you.
This is a letter from the Office of the Prime Minister addressed to His Worship Tim McPhee, Mayor. On behalf of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, I would like to acknowledge receipt of your letter of June 25, 2021 regarding a resolution passed by the Town of Vegreville in relation to Bill C-21, an act to amend certain acts and to make certain consequential amendments, firearms. Thank you for writing to the Prime Minister. You may be assured that your comments offered on behalf of the Town of Vegreville have been carefully reviewed. I note that you have also sent a copy of your letter to the Honourable Bill Blair, Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness. While the Prime Minister appreciates being aware of the Town of Vegreville's resolution, he will leave your correspondence to be considered by Minister Blair. Once again, thank you for taking the time to write. Sincerely, Executive Correspondence Officer.
Okay, I'll take a motion to receive and file. Councillor Brojak, thank you. Any comments? Councillor Worrell.
I just, in case anybody's watching, the one thing I want to say about this is sometimes I think when we write letters to particularly any federal minister or the prime minister, sometimes people might feel that why would we do that as a small community and does it actually impact? But for anyone who isn't aware, with the C-21, the reason that we were writing was because there was a direct clause within there that was specifically for municipalities and put a duty on us and a responsibility on us. So I think that it is really important, regardless of the size of us, to speak out on that because that decision was specifically to municipalities. So that's all.
Yeah, and what it was about was giving municipalities independent powers to control gun laws within their own municipality, and we never thought that was a very good idea at all, so we wrote to the Prime Minister. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next. RCMP.
This is a letter from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Commanding Officer of Alberta. Royal Canadian Mounted Police regular member pay raise. As your community is served by the Alberta Royal Canadian Mounted Police, I want to advise you that a collective agreement has been reached for regular member peace officers working in your community under the Municipal Policing Services Agreement, or MPSA. The National Police Federation Collective Bargaining Committee reached a tentative agreement with the federal government in June of 2021, and on August 6, 2021, the collective agreement was signed. The new collective agreement for regular members below the rank of inspector and reservists cover a period of 6 years, beginning April 1, 2017, and includes economic increases and market adjustments as follows. April 1, 2017 through April 1, 2022. Economic increase is 1.75% annually. Market adjustment 1.5, 1.5, 2.5, 1.75, 1.5, and 2.27% respectively for each year. The pay raises would see the salary for a first-class constable increase from $86,110 to $106,576. Further details can be found in the ratified agreement on the Treasury Board Secretariat website. With this agreement, RCMP total compensation, including pensions and benefits, is competitive with other police services and fair for our members and reservists. We are mindful that policing represents a significant cost for our municipal partners and that you are currently in the midst of planning budgets for next year. We are working on understanding the financial impacts to your community and will share this information with you as soon as possible. As per the agreement, adjustments to current rates of pay will be made within 90 days of the signing of the collective agreement. Retroactive increases and the associated payment terms will be shared as soon as available. The provisions of the MPSA, including those related to the method of payment and financial planning and reports, are unchanged and remain in effect. We appreciate your need for further details, and we are currently working towards calculating the financial impact to your policing budget. We will share this information with you as soon as it's available. Should you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact Superintendent Dave Callist, Operations and Strategy Branch. Thank you for your continued support and collaboration. Sincerely, Curtis Zablocki, Deputy Commissioner, Commanding Officer, Alberta RCMP.
Thank you. You get a motion to receive and file the letter. Mr. Lemko, any comments? Start with Councillor Rudick.
I just wanted to let council know that these two items, the previous letter and this one, have both made it onto our FCM agenda next week on the Community Safety and Crime Prevention Committee. So both of these issues have been brought forward by several provincial and territorial associations, and as well as the handgun C-21. So our concerns have been brought up, and we'll look forward to having a little bit more detailed conversation because, again, the budgetary implications are huge across the country. So,
any other comments? Okay, so basically everybody should know that by November, we're expected to pay this, and the town of Vegreville's portion is gonna be around $500,000 in retro pay. And for 2022, it'll be another about $119,000 over where we're at today. And there's more cost coming, so we have no problem with the RCMP. The fact that the province did not get a chance to negotiate this at all, it was all done by the federal government. Again, it is a big hit for this municipality. Not sure how exactly we're gonna manage it. We have talked to the province, and we've asked the federal government who's gonna be paying for this, and by the look of the letter that we received from the RCMP, it's looking like it's on us. Hopefully FCM, AUMA, some of these other organizations that help municipalities can help change the fortune here, because if not, I can't see no other way out of this other than letting two RCMP go. And we don't get the chance to dictate that through the provincial mandate, the way the Policing Act is set up, but we would have to. Because we just can't go and give a 9% or 8% tax increase just right off the bat to cover for policing, so. Hopefully something will change before the deadline is for this payment. Because if not, it's gonna have very big financial implications to this municipality, so. Councillor Warwell.
I'm just wondering, Cliff, did they give you any indication of what timeline we might expect before we would receive the notices for requests for payment?
The letter indicates 90 days from the date of signing, and the agreement was signed on August 6th. So it would be approximately November 6th.
Okay, I'm just looking at the time of, I think everyone's very clear of what's going on with there being a federal election right now. And the reality is we could be very tight to even see a parliament back before then. If we look at what happened in 2019, at that time, I believe, I'm not inaccurate to say it was close to a month before parliament came back in and they had finished swearing in people. So it could be very tight whether we see them have the ability to go back to ministers themselves, know exactly who would be going to, or even have your MPs in place. So it's certainly concerning the timeframe they've put forward.
It certainly is, and when we talked to the Solicitor General for Alberta, Minister Madu, he let us know that there is some other additional charges that we passed along. New protective wear, new guns, new shotguns, new pistols, new body cameras, and the fact that during the negotiation there was another 12 days that was for sick days and other days that they were awarded on their contract. So well, those costs aren't even factored in yet. So again, it's going to be a big hit for this municipality, and like I said, we'll have to start making some decisions on our own. I mean, the province is saying they're looking at a provincial police force, and after September the 20th, the Price Waterhouse report will be out, and they will have some costing in it, and we'll have to see, because they went from one of the cheaper policing options now to at the very top of the RCMP are now. So, well, I shouldn't say the very top, because I don't know exactly what OPP and them are making, so I retract that statement, so. Councillor Warwell?
I just think it's very unfair, unfortunately, to our officers, because they have no part in this as well. I mean, they are the employee acting forward, but, you know, these negotiations happen, you know, with other levels of government, get passed on, not necessarily taking into consideration what the final dollar figure works out to. And, you know, even items like protective equipment, I mean, those decisions are in there for safety decisions, but, our RCMP officers, again, we already said it, but they're not the issue. They're not where our concern lies, but we're looking at it just from a council financial point of where we're gonna be at. So it's just unfortunate for them, because it becomes an issue bigger than them.
And again, like I stated earlier, we don't have a problem with the RCMP. I mean, but it's all coming to a loggerhead right now. The fact that we we cannot control any of our costs. We cannot control how the criminals in this town get released back into society. We have no control over anything. And I think a lot of municipalities are just like us, that they're at that point right now that they can't take much more of this. When there's no control, you just sit back and write checks. This is not what I signed up for. And I tell you, the citizens of this town shouldn't be willing to accept it neither. So we'll have to figure a way, And hopefully there'll be some news coming down the pipe here through AUMA and FCM, so. Okay, so any other comments on that? Seeing none, all those in favor, receive and file? Carry. Thank you. Next one.
This is a letter from North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance addressed to your worship. Municipal contribution to NSWA. I am pleased to provide a copy of the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance, or NSWA, 2020-21 Annual Report, which summarizes the projects and collaborative partnerships that NSWA has conducted in your watershed during the past year. This important work was accomplished thanks to the generous support of over 40 municipalities in our shared watershed. We would again appreciate a positive consideration by your council for a 50-cent per capita contribution to NSWA for 2021. How your financial contribution benefits your community. Now more than ever, municipalities must rely on partnerships to help provide key services to their communities. NSWA has successfully applied for over $3 million worth of provincial and federal grants to support municipalities and local stewardship groups in the last 5 years. See attached summary table and information sheet on how NSWA can help your municipality. NSWA is helping to address many local watershed management issues, including riparian, wetland and habitat conservation and restoration, river and creek hydrology studies, natural areas and groundwater recharge areas protection, fisheries habitat and aquatic health assessment, including invasive species issues, long-term impacts of land use changes on watershed health, and best management practices and planning policies related to riparian, wetland, and natural area protection, stormwater management, and flood protection and water conservation. In addition to financial contributions from individual municipalities, our nonprofit alliance depends on an annual operating grant from the Government of Alberta and contributions from Epcor. More information about NSWA, our bylaws, finances, and projects can be found online at their website. In 2005, the Government of Alberta appointed NSWA as the Watershed Planning and Advisory Council for the North Saskatchewan River Basin under Water for Life, Alberta Strategy for Sustainability. NSWA has made significant progress under this mandate and in 2012 released an Integrated Watershed Management Plan, or IWMP, for the North Saskatchewan River Basin. The major undertaking provides advice and direction to protect the long-term supply and quality of water resources for future generations, and the plan implementation is now underway through strategic watershed partnerships with local municipalities and stewardship groups. NSWA partners with individual municipalities and 3 sub-watershed alliances to assess local watershed conditions and issues, coordinate intermunicipal projects, and develop harmonized land policies to support long-term sustainability of watershed resources. NSWA also provides technical expertise, grant application support, consultation coordination, and facilitation services for meetings and workshops. NSWA is also involved in many major intergovernmental projects such as the North Saskatchewan Regional Land Use Framework, Edmonton Metro Region Growth Plan, Industrial Heartland Water Management Framework, and Epcor's Drinking Water Protection Plan. This involvement, plus its close working relationship with many Alberta government agencies, allows NSWA to connect municipalities such as yours with the best resources to address watershed issues. NSWA would be pleased to discuss any watershed issues of concern to your municipality and to provide a briefing if requested by your council or administration. Please feel free to contact NSWA's Executive Director in this regard. The Director has over 30 years of environmental experience, including 10 years in municipal government, and appreciates the challenges and opportunities that municipalities face with local watershed management issues. Thank you for your consideration. We have taken the liberty of enclosing an invoice. Ken Crutchfield, President, North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance Society.
Okay, thank you, Cliff. Take a motion to, go ahead, Cliff.
I would ask that we have a motion to receive and file and refer to 2022 budget deliberations.
Okay. Councillor Berry, you'd like to make a motion?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I would make that motion, but I'd like to also point out the important fact that the Vermilion River Watershed Alliance, which I am chair of, is part of the North Saskatchewan River Watershed Alliance. And the North Saskatchewan group is, the executive there is the group that really makes it possible for us to have our Watershed Alliance. So we are very closely connected, and their annual report will reflect that by having components of our Watershed Alliance and the achievements that we have made over the last 2 years to 3 years in there. The report there says that the Vermilion River Watershed is nominated for the Emerald Award. When the 2022 report comes out, it will declare that we were actually the winner of that award. So I think it's a very worthwhile group to continue to support. And I look forward to being able to be part of the budget process that discuss this later in November.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, so we're voting on receive and file and to put this on into the budget planning for 2022. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Cliff. Corporate Services Director, Paul Casey's up next.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a monthly cash statement for the month ended July 31st, 2021. We began the month with $11,926,681 between our treasury account and our investment account. We ended the month with $13,184,080 between those two accounts, for a net gain of $1,257,399. Major proceeds for the month were obviously property taxes, was $1,625,000, and the MSI capital grant was paid for $1,532,057. Major expenditures outside of the normal expenditures on a monthly basis were $82,767 for concrete crushing at the landfill. B&W asphalt, or for paving of northeast walking trails, was $203,158. John S. Patuque water bill for $107,503. Completion of the administration renovations upstairs for $78,967. And additional costs for work at the event center for $63,000.
Okay, I'll take a motion to accept the monthly cash statement. Okay. Any comments? Sandra? Oh, Councillor Broadjack, sorry. So, Mr. Casey, the renovations came in on budget?
The budget was $80,000 and we came in under budget.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor? Gary. Okay, who's doing the Atco proposals? Cliff, you are? Okay, go ahead.
This is a memo to Town Council from myself regarding Atco Electric franchise fee percentage. Attaches the letter from Atco Electric informing administration that any changes to the franchise fee percentage for 2022 requires advertising before October 15, 2021. The current fee percentage is 10%, which was increased on January 1, 2020 from 9%. The current fee cap is set at 20%. So administration is requesting a decision from council to either change the franchise fee percentage or remain at 10% for 2022.
Okay. Take a motion. Okay, Councillor Waters, any discussion? Councillor Warba.
I don't know if this is something you'd want to discuss more at budget time, Cliff, but do you know offhand approximately what 1% equates to for us?
1% would, with the projected revenue that Atco's provided for 2022, would be approximately 585,000. Oh, sorry, 1%,
Yeah.
58,000, 700. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so the motion, what will actually be is we're either gonna leave it the same or we're gonna increase it. That's the motion that we need, correct? So would your motion be to leave it the way it is? Is that what your motion would be?
That would be my motion.
Okay. Any other comments? Councillor Lemko?
Yes, Your Worship. What would the ramifications to the citizens be of increasing it, the 1%? So,
58,000.
yeah,
Well,
so
oh.
that would mean that we would see it on our bills for that? Is that where it would be?
Yeah, if you look at your utility bills that you
Yeah.
get from Atco, it always lists the franchise fees right into what you're paying.
All right, so a decision here would increase your utility bills in the community. All right, thank you.
Okay, so the motion is that we leave the franchise fee with the way it is today. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next up,
This is a memo from myself to Town Council, and it's regarding Atco Gas and Pipelines Limited franchise fee percentage. Attaches a letter from Atco Gas informing administration that the deadline for changing the franchise fee percentage for 2022 is November 1, 2021. The franchise agreement signed in 2016 has the maximum franchise fee capped at 35%, and the town of Vegreville currently collects 33%. So administration is requesting a decision from council to either change the franchise fee percentage or remain at 33% for 2022.
okay, looking for a motion. Councillor Project, your motion would be to leave it the same or to increase? Okay, so we have a motion here to leave the percentage at 33% the way it is today. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next up, Sandra Ling.
Okay, this is, proposal is to provide for the holding of advanced votes for the 2021 general municipal election. Section 73(3)(a) of the Local Authorities Election Act states that a municipality having a population greater than 5,000 must provide for holding an advance vote on the election of the municipal councillors. Section 73(6) also states the returning officer must determine the days and hours when the advance vote will be held. Due to the uncertainty of the COVID-19 restrictions as determined by the Chief Medical Officer of Health and the provincial government that will be in effect this fall during election season, it has been decided to hold 2 advanced votes. Holding 2 advanced votes on different days will help alleviate the number of voters turning out on election day, October 18th, 2021, and the potential for having long wait times due to the current restrictions in place. The returning officer is proposing to hold excuse me, the advanced votes in the council chambers at the Town of Vegreville Administration Building on October 6th and October 13th, 2021 from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Communication strategy is notices and advertisements will be in accordance with the Local Authorities Election Act as well as our 2021 Elections Communication Plan. So the recommendation is being made that Town Council provide for the holding of 2 advance votes in the council chambers at the Town of Vegreville Administration Building on October 6, 2021 and October 13th, 2021 from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. Take a motion for the recommendation. Council Lemko, any comments? We'll start here.
Well, I appreciate there being advanced, some additional days. I'm just wondering whether there would be any consideration to possibly having a different day than a Monday, only because if it's always on a Monday, we happen to hit people that may have that Monday work schedule. I'm wondering if there might be a consideration to have a Saturday for one of the dates, or if that just makes it too difficult.
The 6th and the 13th are Wednesdays.
Oh, they're Wednesday. Oh, I just assumed they're all Mondays, sorry. Okay, we can go there.
Okay, Mr. Casey.
Yeah, I just wanted to note that on October 13th, we have a council meeting scheduled at 7 o'clock. That's the weekend, or it's the day after Thanksgiving weekend, or
Oh, right,
the
because
meeting
of the
after
long
Thanksgiving
weekend.
weekend.
Well, we could run a meeting during a advance poll, I guess. It shouldn't be that bad. You're in favor?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're next then.
Just to echo what Councillor Warwa said, that I don't know if we have consideration for voting outside of the advance polls. So I know that we're not on the scale of the federal election, for example, but the fact that it's the same day both times makes, depending on people's work schedules, they may or may not be able to vote. So I just wonder if there is a consideration for that.
The town has normally used a weekday. I think they've had them on Fridays in the past and everything. We found Wednesday is a good date for a turnout. I will have to work on the council meeting on the 13th. We may just move move the election polls to another section of the building for the remaining 2 hours that day. But we have found Wednesdays are generally a good day, and if they can't make the Wednesdays, there's always the option for them to vote on election day, which is Monday the 18th.
Okay, so and the polls, the advance polls don't close till 8 o'clock either, so everybody in favor of the recommendation where it is the 2 Wednesdays, and then the last couple hours of the 13th will be held someplace else in the building? Or do you guys want to make it on a weekend? We typically never have it on a weekend. Go ahead.
The only reason I'm saying this is I know that there are students that have their actual home address
Yeah.
back here, because I actually had a number of my son's friends ask me and say this is where they live, but they aren't going to drive for 2 hours to come back and vote on a weekday. It doesn't massively impact, but I just hate to exclude like youth or others. But I think, you know, if it makes it really difficult with it being a weekend, it's fine. I just want to throw that kind of thought in there.
Did your son say who he'd be voting for?
Probably not me, actually.
Okay, well, I mean, I know in the past that our children, or adult children, were in university, they had to come home and they had to pick a date to come back to vote on. I mean, I think Cassidy did it once where she was in school and they just, because she just had her card and they changed it, she could vote there at the university. So.
You declare your residence, but you have to decide where your residence is.
That's
what provincial election law is.
Oh, wow. And it's the same for this, for municipal?
I don't think it is. I don't think you get, sorry.
Oh, yeah, what?
For provincial, the legislation is, I believe, for provincial election is that you have to determine where your residence is. So as a student, you could determine if it's your place of schooling or your place of actual residence, but for municipal, it's different, I believe.
Okay, well, for right now, the recommendation, and it really doesn't matter because, you know, like, if you're going to school at Edmonton, you're not gonna vote for Vegreville in Edmonton anyway, so, I mean, I was a little off there. So right now, do we wanna make it, change one of these dates to a weekend? Anybody in favor? Seeing none, the recommendation says that'll be Wednesdays on the 6th and the 13th, from 12 to 8 o'clock in this facility. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. Next up, Community Service Director, Phil Rowe.
Thank you, Worship. This is a request for council decision, Workplace Visitor Safety Policy, OHS-5006, proposal for Town Council to approve the Town of Vegreville's Workplace Safety Visitor Policy, OHS-5006. The Town of Vegreville's Workplace Safety policy demonstrates our commitment to protecting and maintaining the health and safety of employees, contractors, visitors, volunteers, and the public at large at its work sites. The town recognizes and accepts the responsibility to provide its visitors with a safe and healthy experience while on town property. The workplace visitor safety policy is reviewed as part of the 2021 core audit action items. The communication strategy, department managers and supervisors will be notified through the OHS advisor, and all the town of Vegreville health and safety manuals will be updated with a signed policy. A copy of policy OHS 5006 will also be available on the shared drive, accessible to all staff. Recommendation that town council approve the town of Vegreville's workplace safety, visitor safety policy OHS 5006.
Okay, looking for a motion. Councillor Barry moves for the recommendation. We've all been through this, it's a lengthy document, so we're not gonna read it out here, but it's something that's required for our core. So, does anybody have any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carry. Next one, Phil.
Another request for council decision. This topic is the Psychological Health and Safety Policy, OHS 5005. A proposal for town council to approve the town of Vegreville Psychological Health and Safety Policy, OHS 5005. Background, the town of Vegreville recognizes the importance of a psychologically healthy and safe workplace. The town will promote a positive working environment where management and employees collaborate to achieve town goals while promoting the principles of mutual respect, confidentiality, and cooperation to achieve physical and mental health wellness in the workplace. The psychological health and safety policy is reviewed as per the 2021 core audit action item. The communication strategy, department managers and supervisors will be notified through the OHS advisor, and all town of Vegreville health and safety manuals will be updated with the signed policy. Copy of policy OHS 5005 will also be available on the shared drive, accessible by all staff. Recommendations that town council approve the town of Vegreville psychological health and safety policy OHS 5005.
All right, I'm looking for a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Rudick. Thank you. Any comments or any questions? Go ahead.
I'm glad to see that this policy is here, and I just wanted to have you remind us how this gets distributed to the staff to make sure that all employees are aware of the parameters and the importance that council and administration place on having a positive, productive workplace with the supports necessary for maintaining mental and psychological well-being.
Thank you for that. So we will be working on procedures, administrative procedures that coincide with this policy. And basically what it'll be is in those procedures that all staff and supervisors, managers, directors will all know what the process is and how to identify mental health, any mental health concerns or issues, what staff can do, all the resources available to them, which we already have in place. Now this is basically taking it and putting it into a very strategic administrative procedure that everyone can follow, and there'll be no mistakes made when an issue is identified.
Okay, so this is the first time we've actually had this policy off on its own, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. One more, Mr. Rowe.
Request for council decision. Topic is Vegreville Vipers Junior A Hockey Club Agreement. The proposal is for town council to approve the facility user agreement with the Vegreville Vipers Junior A Hockey Club. The background on January 19, 2021, the Western States Hockey League, WSHL, made a presentation to town council to propose a joint venture in bringing a new Junior A Tier 2 hockey team to the town of Vegreville. The town of Vegreville and the Vegreville Vipers hockey team entered discussions for the development of a facility user agreement. The Vegreville Vipers Hockey Club will be notified by written letter on the decision. And the recommendation is that Town Council approve the facility user agreement with the Vegreville Vipers Junior A Hockey Club.
Okay, for a motion for the recommendation on this, okay, Councilor Worrell, any discussion? Okay, well, we've all gone through this and we've looked it over and we've made some changes over the last couple of months, and we're all pretty happy where we're at right now. There is some dispute resolutions in here. The fact that we have a local owner, we're very happy about that, and we're really wishing really good luck to them in their inaugural season here, and hopefully things start going better for them. They have a good year, and hopefully they can have people in the stands. So, all those in favor? Gary, thank you. That's it for you, Phil. Next up, Cliff Gregg.
Request for council decision, advisory boards and committees policy GOV 1012. The town's governance structure includes a number of advisory boards and committees that provide input into the decision-making for the town. The advisory boards and committees are reviewed annually at the organizational meeting to ensure they contribute to a sustainable legislative structure that enhances council's ability to achieve its objectives. The advisory boards and committees can provide valuable expertise and perspectives to initiatives and projects. The mandate and purpose of the advisory board or committee is detailed in the terms of reference, which are included in the advisory board or committee bylaw. So, communication strategy policy GOV 1012 will be forwarded to council, senior leadership and management, and also will be available on the V drive, which is the shared common drive. Recommendation is that town council approve the advisory boards and committees policy GOV 1012.
Okay, thank you. And a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Riddick, any comments? Nothing? Okay. Well, we've been tossed this around a little bit, and we're all happy the way it's worded now, so I guess we won't go any further. We'll just go ahead and vote on it. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. The salary grid, Cliff.
Request for council decision, salary grid, approval of an updated salary grid, September 2021. Recently, the Public Works Operators 3, EO3 positions have become vacant due to resignations of the employees. The main reason provided by the former EO3 operators for leaving their employment was due to wages. This issue was discussed during the closed session of council at their July 13, 2021 Legislative Committee meeting. The consensus of council was for administration to research appropriate EO3 wages. Financial implications, the estimated salary increase from a January 1, 2019 salary grid to the September 1, 2021 salary grid is $7,000 for the months of September through December 2021. Communication strategy, the September 1, 2021 salary grid will be distributed to the directors and department managers. Recommendation is that Town Council adopt the September 1, 2021 salary grid as per the terms and conditions discussed in closed session, and further that Council approve the transfer of up to $7,000 from the general operating reserve to the operating fund.
Okay, thank you. Need a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Lemko makes the motion. Any discussion? Well, go ahead, Councillor Berry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Without divulging an awful lot of what we were discussing there, the aspect is that these operators are the key operators when it comes to snow removal and maintaining the roadways of the town, and I think we need to make sure that we keep qualified staff on hand in order to be able to perform that service. So I'm quite in favor of this. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Well, I can just say that it was needed, and we need to attract some operator level 3 people before the snow season gets here, so. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And one more, Cliff.
That's me, your worship.
Oh, that's you, sorry.
Yep. Request for council decision. This is the 2021 Library Letter of Understanding. The proposal is to approve the Letter of Understanding, the LOU, between the Town of Vegreville and the Vegreville Library Board for a 3-year term. The Letter of Understanding, the LOU, outlines an agreed-upon set of founding principles. The LOU goes on to further identify the role of each partner and duties associated with each. It provides clarity to specify expectations for duties, roles, and responsibilities, as well as reporting timelines, overarching policy which apply to operations. The LOU addresses financial considerations with respect to facility, cleaning, maintenance, and use, accounting principles, and insurance. There are no financial implications to this. Recommendation is being made that Town Council approve the Letter of Understanding between the Town of Vegreville and the Vegreville Library Board for a 3-year term effective July 19th, 2021 to July 19th, 2024.
Okay, I'll take a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Barry. Any comments? Councillor Barry.
Yes, Your Worship, I'd just like to say that I've read through this letter of understanding. I think it's well written, covers things off very well. And I'd like to just comment that being on the Northern Lights Library System Board, our library system here is very well run and has high respect in the Northeast here. So I think kudos goes out to the manager in particular in how they've been able to maintain some library services during COVID. Thank you.
Okay, well, I guess everybody feels the same, that our library is run very well and the board does a very good job. And this letter of understanding just lays out the roles and responsibilities that we have working with them, so. That being said, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now we're coming back to the bylaw, number 06-2021, amended land use bylaw 11-2019.
Thank you, Worship. This is now bylaw number 06-2021 of the Town of Vegreville in the Province of Alberta for the purpose of amending land use bylaw 11-2019 pursuant to the authority of the Municipal Government Act. Whereas the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000, Chapter M26, and amendments thereto authorizes the Council to pass bylaws for municipal purposes. Whereas the Council of the Town of Vegreville in the Province of Alberta deem it advisable to amend land use bylaw number 11-2019 by rezoning the described land as shown in Schedule A of this bylaw attached. Now therefore, the Council of the Town of Vegreville duly assembled and acts as follows. Number 1, that bylaw number 11-2019 Schedule A Land Use District Mapped be amended by changing the designated lands. 1.1, lots 4 to 10, Block 1, Plan 2483P from C2 General Commercial District to R2 Single Detached Compact Residential District, and 1.2, that lots 11 to 17, Block 18, Plan 2483P and Lot 18A, Block 18, Plan 9222101 from R2 Single Detached Compact Residential District to DC Direct Control District. This bylaw shall come into force in effect upon the date of the third passing of the third reading.
Okay, thank you very much. So we had a public hearing earlier tonight on this bylaw, and there was 2 residents from that area that spoke against the changes. And so we are now going to go ahead with the second reading. So I would now take a motion for the second reading. Councillor Barry makes that motion. Is there any discussions? Councillor Barry, you first, and then we'll Councillor Wall.
Thank you, Your Worship. I appreciated the information that the residents brought to us. I just believe that what clearly has to be understood is that we are not making the changes to the property at this time. All we're doing is changing some of the processes into the future. And it doesn't mean that what can occur today won't occur in the future. It can still occur. It just requires one more step, and that's that the council gets to take a look at this and decide what developments should or shouldn't occur there. But it doesn't mean that the lands that are there won't still be developed as residential. That would be for future decisions. So all it is doing is just changing how the process works. It doesn't actually change what is going to happen on the lands at this time. Everything would still have to go through the other procedures to determine whether or not the development occurred. And it would then take all those necessary steps. So all this is doing is making one minor change in process at this point in time. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Warwell.
Somewhat similar to comments by Councillor Barry, I just wanted to say that I think sometimes it's really difficult for people when they come to public hearings. It's not something that they're used to doing, and I want them to know that we were hearing them. During that process, there's often not a lot said by council because we're taking in the information that they're saying for the first time, and then we're talking about it at a point like this. Be it that there was some opposition, if it was a situation of specifically voting on the development or discussing the development further, I might not be able to be prepared to make a decision tonight, but be it that what we're discussing is the zoning, I did really hear what they had to say, and the two issues that stuck out to me was their ability to develop and also concern on whether this change would impact property value. So based on those two things, we, as Councillor Berry reiterated, it doesn't change their ability to develop. It may change the process just slightly, but it doesn't change that. But there is a concern about property value, and I believe this change actually gives us better opportunities to protect property value from where it's sitting at now. So for those reasons, I am prepared to move forward with the second reading.
Right, Councillor Waters.
Yeah, just to thank the people that did come to the public hearing, the two that did speak. I can understand their concern for sure. It is change. Change is hard. They've lived there for a number of years, the two that did speak. And again, echoing what the other two councillors just said, they can still build their home there. It's just the extra step, which may seem frustrating. And when it comes to people applying for permits and that kind of thing, when it comes here, if we do go to the third reading of direct control, we are looking at the entire area for the enjoyment of all in that area. So some of the comments of possible noise, well, we don't know what's going to be developed yet, but that would all be considered. So everybody can enjoy their property, their piece.
Right, anybody else? Councillor Rudick.
I just have a procedural question, so I don't know if I asked that now.
Probably asked me.
I'm just not sure, because I wasn't here for the entirety of the public hearing, if I vote on the second and third reading. Does anybody have a clarification on that?
Yeah, you were here for the first reading.
So if I was here for the first, that's fine, just if I wasn't.
You only have to be here for a portion of. If you missed it all, you cannot vote. If you're here for a portion of it, you can make the decision, do I or don't I?
Good enough?
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, so my view on this is the uniqueness of the parcels of land that we're talking about and some of the usage that it can be in the future. I just feel that it's better under direct control. I know that the two residents that spoke, they were upset about maybe a proposed development that may be going in there, and then they wouldn't be able to develop it what they want. That's not at all the case. If they wanted to build under direct control, they would just have to take that one other step where they'd have to have council approval. And what this does, like I said, how unique this land is with the river and everything else that's close in the park, we would be able to look at how it will be developed. Council will have the deciding factor in that. So that being said, we are going to take a motion for we already have a motion for the second reading. So all those in favor? Carried. Now I'd be looking for a motion for the third reading. Councillor Lemke. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Carried. It's passed. Okay. We are gonna start with council reports, and we will start with Councillor Waters.
Hey, thank you. So my report, August 26th, I attended the roundtable discussion with Minister Madhu, and then also the movie premiere of They Who Surround Us, which is still causing a stir in Vegreville, in Alberta, in all over the place. Like, it's huge. If you haven't seen the movie yet, it's still playing. August 27th, healthcare aid update with Red Deer College. That has now started. We have some students enrolled, and we'll have a few more healthcare aids in the near future, so that's exciting to see. September 7th, the legislative meeting. On the 8th, the CALS meeting. Head Start program preschool are full. All staff are being masked in classrooms, discouraging volunteers at this time, and the students there are not in cohorts anymore, so they are full classrooms that are being held. The Breakfast Club, the program is starting October 5th, and with COVID, they were purchasing individually packaged snacks. Now we're purchasing that in bulk, and they will be packaged individually by our volunteers, saving some cost in that. So, going well with CALS. On the 9th, MD Foundation, unfortunately, there was a COVID case there, so they're on a bit of a lockdown, which is difficult for everybody, residents, staff. They were doing room meals again. It was really hard, but I believe it is September 21st from our last meeting that the outbreak status will be over. So that would be exciting to see. And yeah, just that it's difficult in there, and a lot of the mental health as well. You know, when you think you're double vaccinated, and I'm gonna say not just for the seniors, for a lot of people, it's hard to understand, well, why am I sick? So it's a mental thing as well. So hopefully they're doing better there. And then tonight's public hearing and council meeting. I'm just gonna say I worked yesterday at the Corn Maze. I'm gonna leave that for my fellow councillors here to go in a little bit more. Great event. I worked it yesterday. It was rainy, but there were people, and there were people that came from Lloydminster. I was talking to one of the families. They said, rain or shine, we were coming. We had this day booked, brought their kids. They had a blast. So that I will leave with the fellow councillors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Warwa.
Thank you. I had a bit of a slower time, thank goodness, during this one, but August 26th, I also went to the They Who Surround Us, and I guess all I would say about that is I wasn't sure what to expect going in, and I just thought it was so moving and how proud we are to have this come out of our community, and how strange it was to actually watch our community on the screen and get some deja vu moments. So, and thank you to all of the staff who helped coordinate a lot of the event. So that was great. September 7th, I had a subdivision authority meeting, and September 7th, a legislative meeting, and then tonight's public hearing and the council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Riddick.
I have had a lot more FCM meetings where just council's information. There are a few things that have come forward that are going to be helpful for us, and we'll mention them earlier, as well as we have our board meetings immediately following the election. So it'll be a very busy time. So the next 100 days following the election will be important as FCM continues to make sure that municipal issues are brought to the federal stage. So listening to the debate, the English debate last week, I didn't hear any of them mention municipalities in their retorts, their answers, but a lot of their programs and a lot of their platforms are specifically designed around FCM initiatives that are directly benefiting municipalities. So a lot of the things that I would have on my report reflect those. There are a few other things that I'll just put on there too, is attended on August 23rd, AUMA and RMA have been offering workshops on Canada's history and the municipal role in reconciliation. Great workshop and a good idea to be able to see, as we're talking about our welcome and inclusive community, how that works for us here in Vegreville. Hopping ahead down the calendar, I want to also just thank our MLA for being proactive and providing opportunities for us to be able to meet with Minister Madhu on August 26th, as well as Minister Schweitzer on September 10th. Having the opportunity to speak with ministers about what's happening locally is helpful, and be able to have a better idea of what's happening with the province in terms of their approach. For example, the meeting on September 10th with Minister Schweitzer as the Minister of Jobs, Innovation, and one other title, forget what the third part is. Interesting to be able to see who was on the call and just have a better idea of what that looks like moving forward, because the original call for the meeting was about the film industry, how that ties in with They Who Surround Us, and potential future filming opportunities. So again, important for those ministers to remember those of us that are not in the legislature with them. We're right in their face every day. So great opportunity to be able to have our voice and bring that forward. And again, an opportunity where Zoom comes in handy. And tonight's public hearing I was late to, so thank you everybody for accommodating and making sure that the work continues on, whether I'm here or not. There's a team here, so thank you for everybody making sure that I was up to date. And tonight's council meeting. And I just had an opportunity that was brought forward for volunteer groups too from Canada Post, that there's a grant that's available. So I just wanted to mention that in this format as well, and I'll forward that to some of our community groups through, maybe through Phil, through you, to some of your team. But there is granting opportunities that rarely comes to smaller communities, and they wanted to make sure that Vegreville has an opportunity, especially during COVID. A lot of our groups haven't been able to do fundraising, and they do offer these grants and have all through COVID, but in larger centers. So I'll forward that information on.
Thank you very much. Councillor Lemko.
Thank you, Your Worship. August 24th, we had a corn maze organizational meeting to finalize some of the details leading into this weekend. August 26th, They Who Surround Us movie premiere. And I was moved by the movie itself and what it meant. And I could say that for the 160 people that were in the theater, there were times there when you were scared to cough because you'd be the only person making a noise. I encourage everyone who hasn't seen it to go see it, and it's a great venue to have, and kudos to the Capitol Theatre for maintaining and keeping it open during this difficult time. So thank you there. August 31st, I had a meeting with, I attended a meeting with Community and Social Services Jason Luan and our MLA, Jackie Homiuk, along with FCSS and the regional representatives, to discuss some of the challenges that they're facing. And I must say some of the challenges that we're facing here at FCSS is the closure of the Alberta Sports Office. Not so much that it's closed, but they're working from remote, and they haven't opened here since the pandemic started. So that all falls back on our staff at FCSS with the people that are trying to access resources and face-to-face. I know Minister Luan said that they were opening it September 1st, and that was not the case. It didn't open. So for whatever reason, it's closed, and that impact falls on our staff here at FCSS. Second to that, the Rock Ministries, which we would go to, which they would go to as a reference, has closed their doors as well. So again, impact falls on our staff here. So some of the challenges they're facing. September 7th, I attended the Subdivision Authority meeting, as well as the 7th Alleged meeting. And that evening we had a corn maze meeting. And then September 7th to 12th, the preparation and the opening weekend. And I must add, the opening weekend for our corn maze, many volunteers who put hours and hours in to getting it prepped and ready. And kudos to Councillor Berry for doing his best to get the corn to a height despite of the rain, lack of rain. A remarkable job out there, and the hours you spent all summer out there, Dave. Kudos to you. And I must also add that I wanted to send out a sincere thank you to Shauna Semeniuk, who decorations and artistic work on the fall decorations out there, and her volunteers, Peggy and Wanda, who were out there on Thursday from 9 till 9 at night, and then Friday till dark. And so, and all the people who helped her, I can't say enough about that. And all the other volunteers, the VVA artists and the rocks and everything that, and it was interesting to see on Saturday, the first 4 people in the door, mother and father and their 2 kids, traveled from Redwater to be here for the opening. People from Bonnyville. We did some numbers, and there was 269 people who attended, and maybe 20% of those people were from Vegreville. The rest were from out of town. So kudos to the work of the tourism board and making that happen and bringing people in, because I'm sure those people who attend the corn maze maybe stop for gas or visit our restaurants or do some shopping locally. So it's working. And then tonight's special meeting and this council meeting, and I thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Next up, Councillor Brodziak.
Thank you, Your Worship. On August 26th, I also attended the roundtable meeting with Minister Madu, and it was a great opportunity to express to him in person what our community is facing as far as all of the issues that we're having in our community regarding repeat offenders, the increase that we'll be facing in the fall, and how that will affect our budget. On August 26th, I also attended the They Who Surround Us Red Carpet premiere event. I want to thank all of our staff, and I want to say especially thank you to Troy Ruptash, who brought this forward to put our community on the map. Without his passion, we wouldn't have been able to see this great movie. Thank you again, Troy, and everyone else who had a part in this. On September 2nd, we had our Chamber of Commerce board meeting where we discussed a few items such as the political forum that's going on as we speak. We decided to partner with Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce to hold a live stream event. So at 5:30, they started out with the All Candidates Forum, and then at 7 o'clock till 8:30, it was the Lakeland Riding debate. So that event will also be available at a later date. Once it's done tonight, we'll be able to view that. On September 7th, I attended a Subdivision Authority Board meeting. September 7th as well, our Legislative Committee meeting. On the 10th, I also attended the virtual meeting with Minister Schweitzer, tonight's Town Council meeting, and a public hearing earlier. And I'm looking forward to going to watch the political forum tonight. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll go over a number of them briefly as they were already covered by fellow councillors. The 24th, the Corn Maze meeting, the round table with Minister Madu on the 26th. I also attended the movie, and I'll echo, I didn't have dry eyes as I left the theater, and I don't usually get emotional on movies, so kudos. It was a well done, well edited movie. On the 27th, Northern Lights Library System Annual General Meeting, just handled most things fairly straightforward. Most of the board stayed the same. One piece of information that will be coming forward, the budget was tentatively approved. It'll be approved officially in November, but there won't be a raise to the levies to municipalities or the library boards. On the 7th, the Ledge meeting. On the 9th, Minburn Foundation Board meeting. And besides tonight's 2 meetings, the weekend was the opening of the Corn Maze, and folks were believing that I'd probably be very sad because it was raining. We've got 4 more weekends, and we're going to have some really good weather, and we're going to have some really good attendance like we had last year. But all I can say is that both Saturday and Sunday, particularly Sunday when it was raining. We had families that came in the morning and didn't leave until we closed. And the kids had nothing but fun. They romped around, they enjoyed themselves, and there's everything under the sun for them to do out there. The Bale Mountain this year is so high, I'm also afraid to be on top of it. 9 stories of bales. So everything is there, the corn is there, the maize is there, and it might have been raining at times, but all I really heard was this laughter of kids again. And I'm really looking forward to a couple of really sunny days when we have 800 to 1,000 kids out there, because they enjoy themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I guess it's me now. So on August the 17th and the 23rd, I was in on some planning meetings for the premier of Those Who Surround Us with Annie Lanko, Jameson, and Sandra. And we put their plans. They told me their plans, and all I had to do was say, yeah, that sounds good. So I don't know why they even need me at a meeting, but it worked out very well, and I want to thank, you know, the administration and the town itself for the job they did, and that echoes right from Larry and Lil and family. The Ruptashes wrote us a nice letter thanking the town for what we did and how nice of an evening it was and everything. So again, I just want everybody to recognize Larry and Lil and their family. They were very happy with it. The 23rd, I also had a meeting with our economic development, Bob Pispelko, and a group out of Calgary. We've met with them a few times. I have, at least Bob hasn't, but met with them. On 26th, I was in on the round table discussions with Minister Madu, and I'm glad that we never wrote the letters to the minister saying that we weren't in favor of provincial policing until we actually see what the number looks like, and I can hardly wait, because we are going to have to make some decisions, like I said earlier, because we can't keep going on with having no input at all into the policing that we pay for every day. On the 27th, I attended the grand opening of a wastewater facility in Vermilion, and the Minister of Infrastructure was there, and I got a very nice conversation with her. On the 30th, there was a round table that the Fort Saskatchewan Chamber of Commerce put together in the fort. Ministers Panda, Nally, LaGrange, and Fur were there, and we got about 15 minutes in groups with each of them and got to ask questions. So it was and I went there with a couple of targeted questions. So then I got to meet with Minister Panda after the meeting for a while. On the 31st, I met with Minister Luan. I know he was here earlier in the day, but I went to the fort with some other mayors from our region, and we had our own concerns about social services and of course some of the things that were brought up earlier about the services that are not available now, and so it was a very good meeting. On the September 1 Alberta Hub meeting, we had our meeting in Manville this time. We moved it around. It was a very well attended meeting at the golf course there. On the 2nd, economic development manager Bob and myself met with Thomas, and I forget his last name, I couldn't find his card, but it was regarding the Hotello. And he's been hired by the Treasury branch as a consultant to look at maybe lots of other files that they have, and he's looking at this, the Hotello, and trying to get some input of what we thought would work and how the building could be changed or how it could be opened or stuff. So it was a very good meeting. And he's actually contacted Bob a couple of times since then. So we're moving forward a little bit in discussions there. The Ledge meeting on the 7th, I was in on the Minister Schweitzer's on the 10th, and I thought it was a fairly good meeting. I would have liked to have a little more time, that we could have got some more questions regarding Invest Alberta, and we could have got through the weeds on that a little bit, but hopefully our MLA is going to come up with a few more answers on that for us. And just this morning, Councillor Rudick and myself and Cliff met with Bob in the Economic Development Department, our department here in town. We're just putting to some plans that moving forward here in the next month or so, what we'd like to see done. And tonight's public hearing and tonight's town council meeting. And that's what I have. I would like to ask all the citizens of Vegreville to be very careful around going in and out of the seniors complexes in town right now, and we all know there's a provincial masking bylaw in place. Please respect that when you're indoors, and everybody try to be safe here when we get through this, the fourth wave. So that being said, that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything for council? Go ahead, Councillor Orwa.
I just wanted to address one of the things that Councillor Brodziak had brought up about there being the federal forum tonight, and it's just because it's something I had heard in the street. This is a nonpartisan statement. I just wanted to explain something about forums that have been brought up from our residents. There was somebody who had said to me, why would Vegreville Council hosting a forum and Lloydminster continue forward? So that's not the scenario. I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. In the past years for our area, there were 9 forums. None, absolutely none in the area have gone ahead with in-person forums. Lloydminster was hosting a forum tonight, which actually not only Vegreville partnered with, but so did St. Paul. And again, it was not an open forum. So people in Lloydminster didn't get any more access or anything than anybody else did. It was literally just the candidates allowed. They weren't even allowed their teams with them. They only were allowed one person to go. So I just wanted to let everybody know that that is what happened. There was no opportunity where Lloydminster got access to go to a forum that our residents wouldn't have been able to. Vermilion as well was supposed to have a forum, and as well canceled it and chose instead to just do one-on-one interviews with any candidates. And so there wasn't even a back and forth with that. It was just interviews that were aired on their page. And that's what one other area did. So there was only one forum that even had the candidates come together. So I just thought it would be important to share that it wasn't anything different that was done in this way. And I believe it was a really responsible decision in response to something that I am aware happened in some other communities. After the masking mandate provincially came forward, a couple of forums went forward and had extreme problems with some people not being willing to follow the provincial regulation, and that falls back on the chamber to try and enforce. It falls upon them to then call in resources, like calling in their local bylaw, and our bylaw officers and RCMP officers are out in the communities doing important work and probably not a good use of the resource. So I just wanted to explain that because a couple people asked me, so it was certainly a responsible choice made by our chamber.
Okay, thank you. Couple things coming up. Well, first of all, Corn Maze is running every weekend. What's the theme the next 2 weekends?
Next weekend is Heroes, and the fire department will be there, hopefully the RCMP and EMS staff. And the one after that will be artistic weekend with live music and a farmer's market and lots of things to have fun with. So come on down. Dave and I will be there.
And again, and council has been showing up and taking their turns, and I'll be there this weekend. Not that would make a big difference, but anybody, if you get out and get a chance to bring your family out, we'd appreciate it. And the Vipers are having another camp this weekend, I believe.
That is correct. The first camp was quite successful, and they're looking forward to this weekend. This is their international camp this weekend.
I think he has about 30 kids or young men showing up, he's telling me. So anyway, you get out a chance to go out and take a look at some international hockey players that are coming to our community, looking to live here and play some hockey. So that being said, that's the end of the meeting. I call this meeting adjourned at 8:19.